It is officially 7 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending City Council this evening. We will begin with our traditional moment of silent reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Before we do the moment of silence, just want to tell everybody that Ethel Andrews passed away, and there's no services yet that will be announced in the next couple of days.
Thanks, David. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Got a few guests that wish to address City Council this evening. First up on the list is Becky Westfall, and she is here to speak about the Dickens Christmas Fair event on Main Street. That is also under strategic issues for discussion and or vote under F1. So Becky, the floor is yours. Good evening.
Hello, how's everyone this evening? Get ready to get into the holiday spirit, because certainly this is going to be a fun time for everyone. We met with the Upshur County Commission this morning. They overwhelmingly approved the use of the courthouse steps for our singers and dancers and performers. And we had a safety meeting earlier in the week pertaining to any safety issues that we had. We met with the police, the fire department, the city, and it seems like we're getting there. We are going to have a live tree. We need to nail down the mayor to go pick that tree out at some point.
I'm picking the tree out?
Press, photo op. We talked about this before. Sorry, you got to smile and help chop down a tree. We'll just let you hold the axe. We'll handle it.
Oh, I can cut down a tree.
Okay. Tentatively right now, the fair will be from 2 to 7. The plan is this, that the horse-drawn carriages will start at 2 o'clock, and to obtain access to get your ride, you will be donating a non-perishable food item and get a armband for the day, which allows you to ride all day long, back and forth with the through the streets. We have overwhelmingly we've found that we just have so much support from the small businesses. They are wanting to participate, to dress up, to decorate, and to add to their itinerary for that day. Ideas for the fair. We have a blacksmith and a shoe shiner, and we have possibly potters and glass blowers and all kinds of fun things to have on the main street. We have vendors that will be at the park. They have to be in costume, so we're not charging them to participate, but they do have to be in costume. And for example, our hot dog vendor is not allowed to sell hot dogs. They have to sell bangers. So we are trying to really get into the more traditional aspect. We will follow through the day until about 5:30. We'll start doing a lineup down at the courthouse. The courthouse will have, at that point, we'll have the horse-drawn carriages stop on Main Street, and we will have a leader that will have a candle, costume, and caroling parade that will go down to Jawbone. The horses will circle around, and the people will be invited to go to Jawbone, where the mayor proclaims Christmas, and we light the real Christmas tree that will be decorated by the children of our community. So do we have any questions? Or
what day?
That is Saturday, December 3rd from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m., for those of you who don't know, Fezziwig's Ball will be at the Opera House. The tickets have went on sale, and it is a costume ball, and we hope that all of you can join us there.
Any questions for Becky?
I will go ahead and add, and the mayor was there, myself. No, you weren't at that meeting.
No, I had a conflict.
Right, but Jerry Arnold, both Chief Kimball and Chief Gregory, Lieutenant Loudon, Andy, myself, Jerry, as I said, Jerry, had a pretty extensive meeting. And I think we got the information we need for this point for the city to be up to speed on it. So it looks like it's going to be a good collaboration. Jerry put together the bullet points that appear in your packet tonight, F1, that gives a breakdown specifically of all the different street closures, barricade needs, the schedule, and so forth. So that was a very important meeting to have, and I would suggest we meet a couple, 2 or 3 more times before that, or a couple times anyway.
I agree. We should have at least 2,
Yeah.
not 3 more meetings.
Yeah.
Pertaining to the safety.
Basically, if there's any changes, if there's that, I would just encourage you and urge you, if one thing changes in this plan, let us know so that we can react to it. So, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Council, it's on the very back page of your agenda, requests from the city of Buckhannon. The first request of Ipsen police officers December 3rd, 2022 from 1 to 8 p.m. for safety and assist traffic control. Request barricades Main and Locust, Main and Kanawha, Main and Spring, Friendly Way, South Spring, Traders Alley, Friendly Way, South Spring and Madison, and South Kanawha and Friendly Way for manned traffic control, and at South Florida and Friendly Way. Request to use the lower corner of the public safety lot to stage horse and buggies. Request Jawbone restrooms to be available from and 2 porta potties at the horse staging area. Request to use Jawbone Park, including the electric and sound system. Request a dumpster at the horse staging area for cleanup. Request a street department to install large, and in parentheses, donated Christmas tree in Jawbone Park. And then finally, request any financial assistance to achieve our $5,900 event budget. And that $5,900 is total. That's what you're anticipating.
Now again, that, since this is not an organization that's established itself as a 501c3 and doesn't fall under the financial request form requirements, they're being sponsored by Craig Buckhannon, Mr. Mayor.
Correct.
And Craig Buckhannon has submitted a budget request for the 2023 fiscal year, right, Amby? So they would reimburse, they would front some of the money, the sponsorship. I know they're going to do at least $2,500, correct? Out of their, whether they get it, whether we approve the full budget they're asking for or not, but that's how that's being handled, because Becky's organization wasn't in a situation that they could fill out a financial request form this year, but I have encouraged her to get established for next year.
Well, and this correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these discussions began at Create Buckhannon.
They did.
So,
it started at Create Buckhannon, and Create will be featured with these activities.
Yeah.
And our insurance is also through Create. So our certificate of insurance is through Create, so we are completely covered with insurance.
So we're not entertaining this.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. But we could be entertaining a request from Create Buckhannon at a later date.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that all you need?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Becky?
Thank you, Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you, Becky. Tremendous work.
Okay, up next, Sadie Nichols is back with a report from the Westland Student Senate. Hello.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for welcoming me back. For those who don't know, as you said, I'm Sadie Nichols. I'm a biochemistry and political science major here at Wesleyan, and I'm the college representative because of my position on Student Senate. So I know we're leading into Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I'd like to highlight what our college did for Halloween. We went around in the community and participated in an event that we call Trick or Treat for Canned Goods, and it's basically what it sounds like. We go and instead of getting candy, we trick or treat for canned goods. This year we produced 1,200 cans of food for the parish house, and a sweet lady gave a $500 donation, which we were very appreciative of. We still welcome you all to our football, volleyball, soccer, and soon basketball competitions, and some art events that are happening. Starting today, there's opening in the Sleeth Art Gallery called Underfoot, which is an exhibition by Blake and Hannah March Sanders, and the artists' bios and gallery hours can be found on our website. On November 16th at 7 p.m., there'll be a choral concert called The Mass Appeal of the Latin Flavor at Wesley Chapel. And on November 29th at 12 p.m., there's a piano recital at Wesley Chapel. And on December 1st at 11 a.m., there's a music department recital at also Wesley Chapel. So I know it's a little bit later, but on December 1st through the 3rd, there's a 1940s Christmas Carol at 7:30 p.m. And on December 3rd, there's a matinee at 2 p.m. And all these performances are at the Colonial Arts Center, and we're very excited to perform at this new venue. We are currently renovating our dorms and the Benedum Campus Center. Last summer, if anyone was around, they redid McCuskey dorm. And on November 9th, there'll be a Connection Cafe, which ISO and BSU are hosting, where they're teaching students at the middle school how to be respectful and what certain language to use when it comes to diversity. We also recently had a literacy book sorting event, which we took a couple of days for to organize books that we're hoping to soon give to children. And our Thanksgiving break starts November 18th, and we return on November 27th. The men's and women's basketball teams will be on campus for part of the break for their practices and competitions, and then there will be a few international students who will also be on campus for the entire break. So if anyone is interested in hosting some of them for a meal or providing a meal to them, please contact Elisa Lively. Also, of any events or community events that anyone has or ideas that I could present to Student Senate or to anyone for that matter, please let me know. I'm very willing to do that. And thank you all again for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Sadie, if you can stay there for a second, yeah, couple things. You were curious about this.
So, having attended Wesleyan myself, it is always, living here and knowing a lot of students that came from within a couple of hours drive of Buckhannon get to go home for holiday breaks. Could you maybe elaborate just a little bit about what maybe the community could do if any of the students are staying here for breaks? Is there anything that we as a city or we as residents and businesses of our town can do to help them feel welcome and feel loved while they may not be able to go home?
Yeah, this is kind of more of an individualized thing, so things like hosting them for a meal or providing groceries or money or gift cards, things like that, because a lot of them don't celebrate Thanksgiving Day, so it doesn't even have to be like that day, just any day, just having like a meal or a card or something for them. You contact Lisa Lively for that information.
Okay, thank you.
And what's the best way to contact her? Is there a switchboard, do you know, or just
I don't have her email, but I can get that.
Okay.
Get that.
So if anybody listening, they can always reach out to City Hall, and I'm sure we can get her email address, the
sure.
college email address
For sure.
to them, because I think that's a great thing. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, over the years, there are a number of individuals in town, me included, that would actually have students come and stay at their houses for 2 or 3 days and celebrate the different Thanksgiving and so forth. So it's a good thing to do, I believe, and especially the students that are from other countries that don't get to go home to see their loved ones. So I stopped doing it when COVID hit, unfortunately, but it's something that I think people should give serious consideration to.
Thank you. Becky, is there some coordination with the college for Dickens?
We have Lynn Lender that is part of that, that's working with you guys, but please throw out the fact that we're having open casting calls for our characters on Tuesday at the Opera House at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So anybody who's interested in being a character for the Dickens Fair, then certainly come at 6 o'clock to the Opera House and in costume. We'd love to have you. And if you participate, you get to be a character. You get a free ticket to the Fezziwig's Ball, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Sadie.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
Sadie.
you.
Thank you.
Not to put you on the spot, Tammy, but do you want to give us a brief update about how Leadership Upshur is going?
Sure, and I will say this first of all, my daughter's at Wesley, sorry.
Yeah.
I will say this first of all, my daughter's at Wesleyan and we have hosted a student from Wesleyan for a holiday dinner. And if you get the opportunity or can do that, take it because it's a wonderful experience.
Great.
We did Leadership Upshur today. Laura and I hosted the session. It was on history and culture. And so we started the morning, and we are doing a book review out of several books. And we did that first in our office with some coffee and donuts from the donut shop. And then we headed down to the Colonial Arts Theater, where we had a panel. John Waltz and Keith Buckhannon, Ann Wilson, and Jacob Spruce. Jacob Spruce. And they talked to us about leadership roles that it took to get that project up and going, and where it's still, trying to get to the finish line, where it's at. And they had an opportunity to tour the Colonial Arts Center. After we were done there, we enjoyed the day outside, and we did a scavenger hunt. So you probably saw a lot with this badge running around on Main Street. They had questions and even some brown paper where they were printing city sills on Main Street. And we had some gift cards for the ones that won that game. Then we went to the Create Buckhannon meeting, and they got to see and hear about how that organization was founded and where it's at now and how they can be a part of that. Then we traveled out to Sago Road and got one of Ron Hinkle's last demonstrations today, so that was really special. And they got to hear from him what it's taken from him leadership-wise to keep that business running for so long. And then we came back to Main Street and visited the Historical Society with Noel, and we were there until about 4:45, and we left there and went to the Opera House. From 5 to 7, we heard from Senator Bill Hamilton on his leadership roles, and then we left for the day. So we had a really great day. The weather was terrific, and the group really enjoyed all the outdoor activities. So it was a lot of fun.
So the group meets once a month on the first Thursday of the month.
Yes.
Because everything in this community is on Thursday. So next time is the city and the county. So we will be President Christy Tenney from the commission and I will be tag teaming the day. So the county will be half the day and the city will be half the day. So we'll be getting our presentations ready to go for December 3rd, I believe. So.
And this is something that is going to be a yearly thing. So think about somebody in your organization or a business that would maybe want to participate in this type of class sessions next year.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
Saturday.
No. Did I get that wrong?
I think it's December 3rd. That's a Saturday.
It's December 1st. Sorry.
There you go. I was going to say.
Today's November 3rd, so I guess, yes, December 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Great job. Great work.
Thank you for that impromptu report.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Would anybody else wish to address council this evening? No. Okay. We will go to our department and board reports. First up is Jerry Arnold. Good evening.
The character.
Good evening. The what?
The character. Jerry Arnold.
Yes. Don't have a formal report tonight, just trying to touch base on some same projects, just some of the advances we've made on those projects. Next meeting I'll have a more detailed report for council. As you know, or as you can see, we're active on about 3 sidewalk projects right now in the city. We are working on South Canal Street, I'm sorry. South Canal Street. Contractor just started on demo on South Florida Street. And of course, we are still waiting the notice to proceed on the West Main Street Gateway West project. We did get a start on the demo, but had to cease until we received the notice to proceed on that. Also, the crew's been working in, I had a contractor demo some concrete in front of the fire station doors. So we'll be pouring that back.
There you go.
Pouring that back on Monday is the schedule for that. And then of course, we have to work that in a sequence in order for the fire department to still have availability of the days there. So we will be working on that throughout our projects. Next week, we're hoping to, the sewer department has finished the Westland project. That's completed for this year. And we're going to try next week to get a blacktop to take care of that intersection, seal that up for winter. And then, of course, sewers finished a project up near Rouse Furniture on that road, and that crew will be going back to Shawnee. And again, we'll be repairing the trenches on Shawnee and working on the intersection there at Scott Street. And that's really all I have for a report, Mayor, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Jerry?
Have you heard from the contractors going to do the striping down on Canal Street?
I have not, Pam. Actually, our guys will probably go down there one of these, we keep having these really nice days. I said we need to take advantage of these days, but we'll probably just have our crew go down there and stripe that, because I have not. That contractor's been extremely busy on private jobs, and I have not gotten contact back from him or a schedule back from him when he can do that. So we'll probably just go ahead and knock that out so we can have that end of town completed. I will say that I have obtained all but one of the memorandum of understanding for the sconce-style street lights on both North Spring and North Canal Street, and we have all the wiring in and are ready to energize all those street lights as soon as we hang those sconce lights. So I think there was 6, just off the top of it, I think there's 6 sconce lights that go on private buildings. And as soon as they're up, we'll energize that circuit and light those 2 streets up.
It's supposed to be 80 degrees on Saturday.
Yes, I know, Dave.
Believe that?
That is wonderful.
And when do you plan on start decorating for Christmas?
Well, I got called some bad names this morning from some of the employees, Pam, for mentioning that.
Don't call me.
We do that the week of Thanksgiving is actually when we start the decorating. One of my employees, I came in this morning, was telling them all about the meeting yesterday about the David's Christmas and the Christmas tree up in Jawbone Park, and having to order 9,000 lights to put on the Christmas tree, and all excited about the decorating for Christmas. And one of the employees said he didn't like me very well. But with that being said, we do.
I bet those were his exact words.
Not quite, but that's the G version.
Did you record?
That's the G version, no sir. But with that, we'll start checking, a couple of the employees will start checking like the wreaths and all the lights, the garland. And again, last year, if you remember, last year we actually stored them in our old waste collection shop. So we were able to hang everything so it didn't get mashed. It was handled more carefully when taken down. So I don't expect a whole lot of work to get things ready to put up. But yes, they'll start next week with checking lights and that kind of thing.
I'd just like to hopefully have it done by Thanksgiving weekend, because you people in town
and Main Street probably. That's probably but that's a little optimistic to get all of it done, I think, by then and starting on Thanksgiving week. Because again, the short schedule on Thanksgiving week too kind of triples. But absolutely, by the week after, everything will be up. But I'd say Main Street will be good to go. So we'll give you that much, okay?
Jerry, we still have the Perry garage to take down on South Florida Street, is that right?
Yes, it's in the queue. It's in the queue for later. There's a couple structures, well, one structure in particular that the BOE had asked us to raise, and that is in the queue with those structures. Again, I like to wait until we get a good hard freeze, ground freeze, because it's much easier to pick up the debris once the ground's frozen. So, and again, it's a better time for us because we're not pouring concrete maybe whenever we have a 20-degree day. So that's what we're waiting on.
Has there been any further conversation with Mr. Foster regarding that jut out on the building?
Not to my knowledge.
Anything else from council for Jerry?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Have a good
Appreciate
weekend.
it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Bruce.
Up next, Cam Barrel.
Okay, I'm going to give you your report for October. Balances in your general fund, money market, and checking, $945,159, and your CDs at $86,000. Historic landmarks, $3,000. I'm shortening these numbers though, because some of them are the same I've repeated in the past. Stockard Youth Center capital campaign, I do have something different to report there. $451,717. We had a nice donation from Trina Doberstein for $3,500 towards that capital campaign. Coal tax, $52,757. Municipal stabilization, $915,000. Flood control, $78,000. Consolidated Public Works Board, $100,000 in the money market and checking, and the cemetery CD remains the same at $235,000. Sales tax, we received a check for the quarter of ending September, so we now have $2,078,842 in that account. I'll remind you that $1.5 million is spoken for of that for this budget, so you know. American Rescue Plan, $2,036,400. We also, when I get into the budget revision, I wanted to just mention this without giving a name because I'm not sure what they want to. We've received a substantial donation for the drapes at the Colonial Theater. So Keith Buckhannon will present a overall report on their fundraising efforts at the next meeting, and he may get permission to give a name out then. The security, I need to get some cameras here in City Hall upgraded, and again, in the budget revision, I don't have to revise anything because I had some money left over from where we put the furniture out in the main area, so I have that money for that, but I wanted to let you know I am upgrading cameras around here. I went through police testing last Saturday for the probationary police officers testing, and both candidates that tested passed. Fire testing will be this Saturday, so we'll do that. I think we have 5 candidates applying, so I don't know how many will make it through to the testing, written test part. Pam had asked about money for Christmas banners, and as I was looking through the budget, and I talked to Jerry, there's funds in street department. Those banners are street light banners, so we have enough funds in there to cover that. So I didn't revise the budget for that, but I talked to her about it. There are funds in there for that. We think the banners are going to be about, with the brackets and everything that go with it, about $4,000, $4,500. In your bills to be approved, there's some worth noting, 1,100 positive promotions for glow bracelets for the Halloween bags for the schools that the police department does for their when they tour the schools for Halloween safety. 1,300 right-way heating and plumbing materials for Madison Street project. 49,047 J.F. Allen blacktop for Connaught Street and Chancery Street. 5,300 to C.I. Thornburg for materials for Madison Street. 1,300 state equipment, chop saw and filters. 3,600 corn man meter line materials for the Madison Street project. 2,400 A&A safety for barricades and cones. 8,300 for materials for CAC. 72,315 Mountain State Electrical. This is part of the generator project. It's a grant that we were being reimbursed for. 99,309 Tri-County Electric, and that's to install the raw water intake generator. We had a Stockard meeting this evening, and some of the members asked that we do brief reports to council on what had been going on in Stockard. So I'll try to go over that real quickly. It was a very active building in October. So they had after-school programs. 97 children are registered. They average about 50 a day for that program. The tutoring program, they have so many, they need more tutors. So people are on a waiting list for it right now. Activities, October 1st, they had Buckhannon. The 18th, they had 25 basketball and cheer cheerleading registrations. The 21st of October, they had the haunted house and over 300 attended. That was a very successful event. The police department and FRN collaborated for Trunk or Treat, and we had over 500 youth with the adults involved chaperoning them. There were well over 1,000 people in that parking lot going through the Trunk or Treat line. We had, I think, around 25 trunks that were set up. November 2nd, coaches, a meeting for basketball was held. November 12th, skills day for basketball and cheerleading. November 18th, open gym and game room night will occur. December 2nd, middle school dance. December 3rd, that's the same time as the Dickens. They're having a drop-in shop, so they will have children's activities there. If the adults want to drop the children off, then they will have activities there if they want to participate in more of the Dickens things. December 10th, they're having a holiday craft show in the building. And then January starts their March games, and they are working on upgrading and renovating the kitchen to bring it up to standards where they can serve a little better in there. Okay.
Any questions for Amby's financial report? While you're standing there, you want to go ahead and talk about the budget revision?
You want me to, I will.
Council, that is under F3, and it is near the rear of your packet.
Actually, look on the very last page, because as I was sitting in there this evening, I thought I forgot one line item, so I added it. The very last pages, you'll see this. I give you more detail than the actual thing that goes to the state. So this budget revision is majority for those proposed pay raises that were approved by the city council. So as you go down through there, I'll point out the larger ones. Police salary, $78,724. I have the FICA and retirement built in for those. Fire salaries, $37,000. Stockert Youth Center salaries, $24,000. The things that weren't so salary oriented were $15,000. We had damages to our one of our fire trucks, so the insurance paid on those damages, so I'm pulling that out to put into the revenue line item because it's running a little short. Signs and signals, they purchased pipe and blanks for the new signs, and I saw that line item was getting pretty lean too, so I put $10,000 in there to cover anything that might happen from now to the end of the year. Street auto supplies, which is mostly because of fuel expenses being up so high, I put $10,000 in there, so those weren't normal. And like I said, the theater capital, we did get a donation in. One major donator contributed to the drapes. So we got $9,200 coming in and $9,200 going out for those drapes. I did take from council contingency $231,289 to cover those adjustments in the budget. So you had 328, so we still have 96,853 sitting there.
Any questions from council relative to the proposed budget revision number 2 for the general fund for our current fiscal year? This is a resolution, so I'll entertain a motion that we approve the budget revision as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries, but I will defer to Mr. Sanders for the roll call.
Mrs. Bucklew.
Yes.
Mr. McCauley.
Yes.
Mr. Rigger is absent. Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Skinner.
Yes.
And Mr. Sanders, yes.
Thank you, sir. And we will need to sign that document. Thank you, Amby. All right. Chief Kimball is not here this evening. I thought it was best that he stay married. Today is his anniversary. So he did provide me with a brief report that I will go ahead and read to you right now from the City Fire Department. So year-to-date activity, they've had 1,050 calls for service. They visited over 1,000 students and did numerous pumpkin drops at our local schools. We had CPR awards presented to 2 crews. We did that presentation this week. They're working on Category 5 of accreditation, and that's the Community Risk Reduction Program. Mapping is still pending for accreditation. 5 out of 7 departments in the county have completed the needed updates to the first due areas. Buckhannon is one of those. The Buckhannon Fire Department is preparing to develop a mental health peer report or support system. During this, we would encourage other departments within the city to work towards developing a process as well. Our first responder agencies should evaluate systems that they have in place, and members and employees are the most important asset that is out there for the community. They're continuing to work on recruitment of volunteers. They would like to explore possibly developing a scholarship program as a joint venture with Westland. They have tried numerous other recruitment ventures with no additions to any Upshur County Fire Department. They would also like to look for possible funding for an automated external defibrillator for the senior center. This would help secure another public access for an AED to our Heart Safe Community initiative. That cost is around $2,400. Any questions for Chief Kimball can be directed to the Chief this week. That is the report that he supplied for this evening. Mr. O'Neill communicated to me earlier that he does not have a specific report that is in addition to F2 on the agenda. So we will go down to correspondence and information. We just have the Red Ribbon Week proclamation that we do every year. Thank you, Mr. Sanders, for administering that. We have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have the meeting minutes of 10/6/2022. And then we have the approval of the building and wiring permits and the approval of the payment of bills. I would entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have a second on the table? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries unanimously. Down to strategic issues for discussion and or vote, we have dispensed with F1 and F3, thus just leaving F2, and that is the approval of Ordinance 461. This is second and final reading. This is the Stockard Youth and Community Center membership reduction and meeting schedule. We had a Stockard Youth and Community Center board meeting this evening at 4:30. I discussed this with the board members, and that is where they suggested that we do provide council with periodic reports intermittent of the quarterly proposed meeting schedule. I will defer to Mr. O'Neill for the reading of the ordinance and to entertain, or by caption, and to entertain any questions that council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council has before it ordinance number 461 of the City of Buckhannon, and ordinance amending ordinance numbers 320, 350, and 432, reducing the size of the city's Stockard Youth and Community Center Board of Directors by decreasing the number of at-large members, providing for the board's operations, and providing for the frequency of board meetings. This is the second of 2 readings.
And just to clarify, as we have before, this doesn't necessarily tie the board to only meeting quarterly. It just it is no fewer than quarterly meetings.
That's correct.
And Mayor Skinner did present that and give an overview to the board today, and they were most receptive.
If there are no additions or corrections or questions, I entertain a motion that we approve on second and final reading Ordinance 461 relative to the Stockard Youth and Community Center.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second on the table. I'll give it to CJ. That way.
That'd be fun.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we're down to council comments and announcements. We will begin to the left with Pam.
Okay, I know we had a successful first play at our new theater, but I would like to see Ann come to a council meeting once in a while and let the public know what's going on, how successful the place is, and what's going on in the future.
Very good.
Thank you.
And I will mention too, Pam, that each, Clue, the first 4 shows were all sold out.
Right.
And there were still several people wanting to attend, so they had the encore shows, and the 2 p.m. encore show, and it was about maybe 20 seats left. The second one was about half full. So they had and those were all people, mainly people who couldn't get tickets earlier, so it really paid off.
Anything else, Pam?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. McCauley.
Last meeting, I requested some action, and I think you're working on this, Robbie. The Parks and Rec Board folks, is that right?
That is slated for the November 17th meeting.
Great. And then the other thing is the replacement ordinance.
Also slated for the 17th meeting.
Super. That's all I got.
Thank you. Over to the other side, Mr. Thomas.
I just want to thank Create Buckhannon again, and kudos to the membership of that group and their leaders. They have been really instrumental, I believe, in really making this community a really great place to live. And just thank them for everything they do and their hard work.
Thanks, Dave. CJ?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Sanders.
As Mrs. Buckley said, the Colonial Theater was very successful in its premiere show under BCT. I know there have been other events held in the theater, so it wasn't really a premiere event in the theater. But it's coming along very nicely, and I think kudos to Jerry Arnold and the contractors and everyone in there working at this point. And Wilson doing a great job as the manager there at the theater, too. There's a really beautiful show in the MIB Gallery that was put together by Art 26201, and I would encourage everyone to get an opportunity in the weekend evening hours, 4 to 8, I believe, is the Friday, Saturday hours for that art show. And I would recommend everyone to go see the exhibit and check up on it, read about it. That building is coming alive, so that's something I know a lot of folks have been anxious to see. So I'm very happy about that.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. For my comments tonight, Becky, thank you again for all of your work and your committee with the Dickens Christmas celebration. We're looking forward to that. So thank you for being here, and thank you for helping our community once again. So also, we do have a few folks here in the audience I want to recognize. Just for council's knowledge, Carl Weaver once again did a great job with our parks this past season, keeping everything clean. He started before Strawberry Festival and ended here once the parks closed for the season. So Carl, thank you again for all your work in all of our parks across the city. And he also works all the events that we have too, so thank you. Also, earlier this week, Jody and her committee had a reception. As we all know, the Barbecue Bash is coming back to Buckhannon this summer in June. And so there was a very nice reception at the 88 Bicentennial upstairs, where several community members and regional members were recognized for their support of the Barbecue Bash, as was the city of Buckhannon. So it was a very nice affair. The barbecue was very good. Imagine they had barbecue at the reception.
They have to.
Yes, so thank you for the invite to that, and we still are looking forward to that event next year. And I believe I did talk to Jerry this week when we were at the supervisors meeting. We'd like to have maybe February time frame, just a meeting with the police chief, fire chief, public works, some of myself, just to make sure that we are ready to go for the event. We'll probably meet at Jawbone Park again. We met there in February of last year and kind of got this rolling, but we just want to make sure we've got the plan together. And we did not involve public safety before, but we want to do that this time. So, and also thank you to Tammy, and thank you to everyone who's making Leadership Upshur a great success. This is not a show and tell about our community. It's not a come see this and come look at this, and this is how this functions. It's the leadership aspects and the construct to how we have developed what we've developed as a community and the skill sets that are used in each individual role in the community. So it's a great program. It's based off of Leadership West Virginia, which has a great success record throughout the state. There are different local leadership chapters. The City of Buckhannon is a sponsor of it, as well as the Development Authority, the County Commission. It's a good program, and we're looking forward to having our turn in the long, it's a year-long process. So we're looking forward to having our turn in December. So, you have one more thing?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
Miss Teresa, on her way out the door, asked me to deliver this information. It did not make the packet, but I want to remind everybody that on November 11th, the Veterans Day Parade will take place. The lineup for the parade will occur at 9 a.m. at the Gibson Library along Sedgwick Street. The parade will then begin promptly at 10 a.m. and will commence down West Main Street, turning left onto Canoa Street. The parade will then turn left onto Cold Rider Street and proceed to Jawbone Park, where it will end. And I believe, Mr. Mayor, last year we had 300 or 400 people.
We did. We had a
gathering in
very,
Jawbone
very big
Park.
crowd.
So there'll be remarks. The sound system will be fired up, and we'll have a nice presentation there at Jawbone Park with still all of the honor banners will still be up until
Correct.
they will not be taken down until after the Veterans Day celebration. So we invite everyone to come out on Veterans Day on November 11th for the Veterans Day Parade. Thank you.
And this year, as you noted, just make sure we highlight this, the parade is at 10, and not 9. Last year was 9, it's at 10 this year. So
Yeah.
make sure you put that on your calendar.
Okay.
Well, Dennis?
Channel 3 will be live streaming it again this year.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Channel 3 will be live streaming. Thank you.
All right, folks, at 7:46, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone.